Hey everyone, welcome back to Real English Voices. I'm Tom.
And I'm Ria. Tom, I have to tell you something funny that happened to me yesterday.
Oh yeah? What happened?
So I was walking to the coffee shop, right? And I saw this guy trying to take a selfie with a pigeon. The pigeon flew away at the last second, and he dropped his phone right into a puddle.
No way! What did he do?
He just stood there, completely shocked. I felt so bad for him.
And listeners, did you notice what Ria just did there? She told an entire story using the past tense. That's exactly what we're diving into today. Whether you want to share your weekend adventures, talk about your childhood, or tell someone what you ate for breakfast, you absolutely need the past tense. And here's the thing. Most English learners think they know the past tense, but then they get confused with irregular verbs, past continuous, past perfect. It gets messy.
So messy. But don't worry, because by the end of this episode, you're going to feel so much more confident talking about the past. We're going to break down everything: simple past, past continuous, past perfect, and even those tricky irregular verbs that make everyone crazy.
Exactly. So grab your notebook, get comfortable, and let's master the past tense together. Part 1. Why the past tense matters. All right, Ria, let's start with the big question. Why is the past tense so important? I mean, can't we just live in the present?
Ha. Well, Tom, think about your daily conversations. How often do you talk about things that already happened?
Honestly, all the time. How was your day? What did you do last weekend? Have you seen that movie? Did you hear about? Yeah, okay, I see your point.
Exactly. The past tense is probably one of the most used tenses in English conversation. We tell stories, share experiences, give updates, talk about history, explain what we learned. All of that needs the past tense.
And here's something interesting for our listeners. In English, we actually have several different past tenses. We've got the simple past, the past continuous, the past perfect, and the past perfect continuous.
Whoa, hold on. Let's not overwhelm everyone right away. We'll tackle each one step by step.
Good idea. Let's start with the foundation, the simple past tense. So, Tom, explain the simple past tense. What is it?
The simple past tense is what we use to talk about completed actions in the past, something that started and finished. For example, I walked to the store. She called me yesterday. They visited Paris last year.
Notice the pattern there? For regular verbs, we just add ed to the base form of the verb. Walk becomes walked. Call becomes called. Visit becomes visited.
Right, but here's where it gets interesting. Let me give you the formula.
Regular verbs, positive statements, subject plus verb plus ed. Negative statements, subject plus did not, didn't, plus base verb. Questions, did plus subject plus base verb.
Okay, let's make this super clear with examples. Tom, you start.
Sure. Positive. I played tennis yesterday. Negative. I didn't play tennis yesterday. Question. Did you play tennis yesterday?
Perfect. Notice how the verb changes? In negatives and questions, we use did or didn't, and then the main verb goes back to its base form. You don't say, did you played tennis? That's a super common mistake.
Such a common mistake. I hear it all the time from my students.
Now, let's talk about the spelling rules for adding ed, because not every verb just gets those two letters slapped on the end.
Oh yeah, the spelling rules. These are important, listeners.
Okay, here we go. Rule 1. Most verbs just add ed. Want becomes wanted. Help becomes helped. Listen becomes listened.
Rule 2. Verbs ending in an E just add D. Like becomes liked. Love becomes loved. Arrive becomes arrived.
But watch out. If there's a vowel before the Y, you just add ed normally.
Right, like play becomes played, not plied.
And here's rule 4, which trips people up. One-syllable verbs ending in consonant, vowel, consonant, double the last consonant and add ed.
Stop becomes stopped. Plan becomes planned. Rob becomes robbed.
But Tom, we don't double letters like W, X, or Y. So fix becomes fixed, not fixed.
Good catch. And for two-syllable words, we only double the final consonant if the stress is on the second syllable.
Like prefer becomes preferred, but visit becomes visited.
Exactly. Now, let's practice pronunciation because this is where a lot of learners struggle.
Oh, this is so important. The ed ending has 3 different pronunciations, and native speakers use them automatically without thinking.
Right. The 3 sounds are t, d, and id. Let's break them down.
Okay, sound 1, t. We use this sound when the verb ends in a voiceless consonant sound, like K, P, S, SH, TCH, F, or KS.
Examples: walked, stopped, kissed, washed, watched, laughed.
Notice how we're not really saying walked, duh. It's more like walked.
Sound 2, d. We use this when the verb ends in a voiced consonant sound or a vowel sound.
Examples: called, played, lived, used, tried, showed.
And sound 3, id. This one is special. We only use it when the verb ends in a t or d sound already.
Because otherwise it would be impossible to pronounce. Examples: wanted, needed, decided, waited, ended.
Listeners, here's a quick tip. If you're not sure which pronunciation to use, try saying the verb and see what feels natural. Your mouth will tell you.
And honestly, even if you get the pronunciation slightly wrong, people will still understand you. Don't let this stop you from speaking.
Absolutely. But practicing these sounds will make you sound much more natural and fluent.
Part 4. Irregular verbs, the challenge. Okay, Tom, now we need to talk about the thing that makes English learners want to cry: irregular verbs.
Oh boy, here we go. So listeners, here's the deal. English has hundreds of irregular verbs, verbs that don't follow the regular ed pattern.
Instead of adding ed, these verbs completely change form, sometimes just a little, sometimes dramatically.
Let me give you some examples. Go becomes went, not goed. See becomes saw, not seed. Eat becomes ate, not eated. Buy becomes bought, not buyed. Think becomes thought, not thinked.
And the frustrating thing is, there's no real rule. You just have to memorize them.
Well, there are some patterns, actually. Let me share a few groups that might help.
Ooh, good idea.
Group 1, verbs that don't change at all. Cut, to cut. Put, put. Shut, shut. Hit, hit. Let, let. Cost, cost.
That's nice and easy. The past tense is the same as the present.
Group 2, verbs that change the vowel from I to A. Sing, to sang. Drink, to drink. Swim, to swam. Ring, to rang. Begin, to began. Sink, to sank.
Ooh, I like patterns. Group 3. Verbs that change to ought or ought. Bring to brought. Think to thought. Buy to bought. Fight to thought. Catch to caught. Teach to taught.
Group 4, verbs that end in EW. Know, knew. Grow, grew. Fly, flew. Throw, threw. Blow, blew.
Group 5. The really irregular ones that are just unique. Go to went. Do to did. Have to had. Make to made. Take to took. Come to came. See to saw. Say to said. Get to got.
Now, I know this seems overwhelming. How many irregular verbs do you actually need to know?
Great question. Research shows that the 50 most common irregular verbs cover about 87% of irregular verb usage in English.
So if you focus on learning those top 50, you'll be in really good shape. Should we list them?
Let's do it. Listeners, grab your pens. Here are the 50 most common irregular verbs in English with their past tense forms.
Be, to was or were. Have, to had. Do, to did. Say, to said. Go, to went. Get, to got. Make, to made. Know, to knew. Think, to thought. Take, to took.
11. See to saw. 12. Come to came. 13. Want to wanted, but super common. 14. Use to used. 15. Find to found. 16. Give to gave. 17. Tell to told. 18. Work to worked, regular. 19. Call to called, regular. 20. Try to tried, regular.
21. Ask to asked, regular. 22. Need to needed, regular. 23. Feel to felt. 24. Become to became. 25. Leave to left. 26. Put to put. 27. Mean to meant. 28. Keep to kept. 29. Let to let. 30. Begin to began.
31. Seem to seemed, regular. 32. Help to helped, regular. 33. Show to showed. 34. Hear to heard. 35. Play to played, regular. 36. Run to ran. 37. Move to moved, regular. 38. Like to liked, regular. 39. Live to lived, regular. 40. Believe to believed, regular.
41. Bring to brought. 42. Happen to happened, regular. 43. Write to wrote. 44. Sit to sat. 45. Stand to stood. 46. Lose to lost. 47. Pay to paid. 48. Meet to met. 49. Include
to included, regular, 50, continue, to continued, regular.
Noticed how many of those are actually regular? About 40% of the most common verbs are regular.
That's good news. But let me give you a study tip for irregular verbs. Don't just memorize lists. Use them in context.
Yes, make sentences with them. Tell stories. For example, yesterday I went to the store, bought some bread, came home, and made a sandwich.
Perfect. And here's another tip. Read a lot in English. When you read stories, articles, or books, you'll see these irregular verbs used naturally over and over again.
Your brain will start to remember them without you even trying. Part 5. Time expressions with simple past. Okay, so we've covered how to form the simple past. Now let's talk about when to use it.
Right. So the simple past is used with specific time expressions that show the action is finished. These are like signals that tell you, hey, use the past tense here.
Here are the most common ones. Yesterday. I saw him yesterday. Yesterday was a good day. Last. Week, month, year, night, etc. We went to Italy last summer. She called me last night. They moved here last month.
Ago. He left 2 hours ago. I graduated 5 years ago. We met a long time ago.
Notice with ago, we count back from now. 2 hours ago, 3 days ago, 10 years ago.
Other time expressions. In with a specific year or period. I was born in 1990. They visited France in 2019. We lived there in the 1980s.
And when I was young, a child, in school, etc. When I was young, I loved climbing trees. When I was in college, I studied biology.
Let's add some more. This morning, if it's now afternoon or evening. The other day, once or one day. At that time, in those days.
Here's an important point. We use simple past when we specify when something happened, or when it's clear from context that it's finished.
Right. Like, if someone asks, how was your weekend? You know they're asking about the past. So you say, it was great. I went hiking and saw some beautiful views.
Not, it is great, I go hiking.
That'll be very confusing.
Part 6. Past continuous. Actions in progress.
All right, now let's level up. We're moving to the past continuous tense.
Ooh, this one is so useful for storytelling.
It really is. So what is the past continuous? It's the tense we use to talk about actions that were in progress at a specific moment in the past.
The structure is was, were, plus verb ing.
Examples. I was watching TV at 8 p.m. last night. They were playing football when it started to rain. She was cooking dinner while he was cleaning the house.
Notice how these actions were ongoing. They had duration. They weren't just quick, completed actions.
Exactly. Let's compare simple past and past continuous. Simple past. I watched TV last night. Completed action. You started and finished watching TV. Past continuous. I was watching TV when you called. Ongoing action. You were in the middle of watching TV.
Here are the main uses of past continuous. Use 1. To describe an action in progress at a specific time in the past. At 9 a.m., I was having breakfast. This time last year, we were living in Tokyo.
Use 2 to talk about an interrupted action. This is where past continuous really shines. We use it with simple past to show that one action was in progress when another action interrupted it.
The pattern is, I was doing X when Y happened. Examples, I was walking to work when I saw an old friend. She was sleeping when the phone rang. They were having dinner when the lights went out.
Notice how the longer background.
Use 4 to set the scene in a story. This is why past continuous is so great for storytelling.
It was raining heavily. The wind was blowing through the trees. I was walking alone down the dark street when suddenly I heard a strange noise.
Ooh, spooky. See how the past continuous creates atmosphere and background while the simple past moves the action forward?
Exactly. Here's another storytelling example. Last Saturday was a disaster. I was getting ready for an important job interview. I was ironing my shirt when I accidentally burned it. Then, while I was looking for another shirt, my dog knocked over my coffee. I was cleaning up the mess when I realized I was going to be late.
Perfect storytelling. You really feel like you're there experiencing it with him.
Now, let's talk about some verbs that we typically don't use in the continuous form.
Oh, yeah, the state of verbs.
Right. Stative verbs describe states, not actions. They include verbs about thoughts, feelings, possession, and senses.
Examples: mental states, know, believe, understand, remember, forget. Emotions: love, hate, like, prefer, want. Possession: have, own, belong. Senses: see, hear, smell, taste. Others: seem, appear, need, be.
We usually don't say, I was knowing or she was loving. We just use the simple past, I knew or she loved.
Although there are exceptions, have can be continuous when it means experience or eat, drink.
Right. I was having a great time or we were having dinner are both correct.
And think can be continuous when it means consider. I was thinking about your offer.
But not when it means believe. I thought, not was thinking, it was a good idea.
English is tricky. Part 7. Common mistakes with past continuous.
Let's talk about the mistakes people make with past continuous, because there are some really common ones.
Mistake 1. Forgetting was or were. Wrong: I walking to school when I saw him. Right: I was walking to school when I saw him.
Mistake 2, using past continuous for completed actions. Wrong. Yesterday I was going to the cinema. If you mean you went and came back, right. Yesterday I went to the cinema. The past continuous version would only be right if you're describing what you were doing at a specific moment. At 7 p.m. yesterday, I was going to the cinema, meaning you were on your way.
Mistake 3. Using the wrong form of be. Wrong: they was playing football. Right: they were playing football. Remember, I was, you were, he, she, it was, we were, they were.
Mistake 4, confusing which action should be continuous. Wrong. I watched TV when he was calling. Right. I was watching TV when he called. The longer background action is continuous. The interrupting action is simple past.
Unless both actions were happening simultaneously, then both could be continuous. I was watching TV while he was calling his mom.
Good point.
Part 8. Past perfect. The deeper past.
Okay, Tom. Time for the past perfect. This is where things get a bit more complex.
True, but it's not as scary as it sounds. The past perfect is actually super logical once you understand why we need it.
So why do we need it? Imagine you're telling a story and you need to talk about two different past events. How do you show which one happened first?
Ah, that's where past perfect comes in. It's the past of the past.
Exactly. The structure is had plus past participle. Examples: I had finished dinner before you arrived. She had never seen snow until she moved to Canada. They had already left when we got there.
Let's break down the formula. Positive, subject
plus had plus past participle. I had eaten breakfast. Negative, subject plus had not, hadn't, plus past participle. I hadn't eaten breakfast. Question, had plus subject plus past participle. Had you eaten breakfast?
Now, here's the key. We use past perfect to show that one past action happened before another past action.
Let's make this really clear with a timeline.
Great idea. Imagine this scenario. Event 1, earlier, I lost my keys. Event 2, later, I looked for them.
If you tell this in chronological order, you can use simple past for both. I lost my keys, so I looked for them.
But if you tell it in reverse order, you need past perfect. I looked for my keys because I had lost them.
The past perfect, had lost, shows that losing the keys happened before looking for them.
More examples. When I arrived at the cinema, the movie had already started. Starting came before arriving. She was tired because she had worked all day. Working came before being tired. I didn't recognize him because he had changed so much. Changing came before not recognizing.
Here are the main uses of past perfect. Use 1, to show which of two past actions happened first. By the time we got to the station, the train had left. I had never tasted sushi before I went to Japan.
Use 2, with time expressions like before, after, when, by the time, already, just, never, ever. She had just left when he called. They had already eaten before we arrived. Had you ever visited Spain before 2020?
Use 3, to give background information in a story. Sarah looked exhausted. She had been working on the project for 3 days without sleep. She had tried everything, but nothing had worked.
Use 4, with reported speech. When we report what someone said in the past, we often use past perfect. Direct speech, I lost my wallet. Reported speech, he said he had lost his wallet.
Now, here's an important point. You don't always need past perfect. If the order is clear from context, or if you're using after or before, simple past is often fine.
Right. Compare these. After I ate dinner, I watched TV. Order is clear from after. After I had eaten dinner, I watched TV. Also correct, but not necessary.
Both are acceptable.
But in some cases, past perfect is essential for clarity. When I got home, my husband cooked dinner. He cooked while I was getting home. When I got home, my husband had cooked dinner. He finished cooking before I got home.
See the difference? Same sentence, different meanings.
Part 9. Past perfect continuous.
All right, we're going deep now. Past perfect continuous.
I know this sounds super complicated, but stay with us. It's actually quite logical.
The structure is had been plus verb ing. Examples. I had been waiting for an hour when the bus finally arrived. She had been studying English for 5 years before she moved to London. They had been living there for 10 years when they decided to sell the house.
So, when do we use this tense?
We use past perfect continuous to emphasize the duration of an action that was ongoing before another past action.
Let me explain the difference between past perfect and past perfect continuous. Past perfect focuses on the completion of an action. I had read the book before I saw the movie. Finished reading. Past perfect continuous focuses on the duration or ongoing nature of an action. I had been reading for 2 hours when he called. It emphasizes the duration.
Another comparison. She had worked at the company for 5 years. Fact. She worked there. She had been working at the company for 5 years. Emphasizes the continuous duration.
Both are correct, but the continuous form puts more emphasis on the ongoing nature of the action.
Common uses. Use 1 to show the duration of an activity before another action. He was tired because he had been running for 30 minutes. Her hands were dirty because she had been gardening.
Use 2 to explain the cause of something in the past. The streets were wet because it had been raining. I was exhausted because I had been working all night.
Use 3 with time expressions showing duration. I had been learning Spanish for 3 years before I finally visited Mexico. How long had you been waiting when he arrived?
Now, just like with past continuous, we don't usually use stative verbs in the past perfect continuous.
Right. We say, I had known him for years, not I had been knowing him for years.
And here's a tip. If you're not sure whether to use past perfect or past perfect continuous, ask yourself, am I emphasizing the completion or the duration?
Completion equals past perfect, duration equals past perfect continuous.
Part 11. Putting it all together. The timeline.
Okay, let's take a step back and look at all 4 past tenses together. I think a lot of learners get confused because they don't see how these tenses relate to each other.
Great idea. Let's create a visual timeline in our minds.
Imagine this scenario. I'm going to tell you a story using all 4 past tenses. Last night was crazy. At 7 p.m., I was cooking dinner. The pasta was boiling and I was cutting vegetables. I had been cooking for about 30 minutes when suddenly the alarm went off. I realized that I had left the oven on and the bread inside had been burning for at least 10 minutes. I quickly opened the window, turned off the oven, and took out the burnt bread. What a disaster.
Perfect example. Let's break down which tenses you used and why.
I was cooking dinner. Past continuous, because it was an ongoing background action. The pasta was boiling. Past continuous, setting the scene. I had been cooking for about 30 minutes. Past perfect continuous, showing the duration before the alarm went off. The alarm went off, simple past, the main event that happened. I realized, simple past, another completed action. I had left the oven on, past perfect, showing this happened before I realized it. The bread had been burning for at least 10 minutes. Past perfect continuous, emphasizing the duration of burning before I discovered it. I opened, turned off, took out. Simple past for the sequence of actions I did.
See how all these tenses work together to tell a clear, detailed story?
Each tense has its job. Simple past for main events, past continuous for background and atmosphere, past perfect for earlier events, and past perfect continuous for duration of earlier events.
Let's try another example. Listeners, pay attention to the tenses. Last week, I met my old friend Sarah. I hadn't seen her for 5 years since we graduated from college. She looked different. She had cut her hair short, and she had lost weight. We went to a cafe and talked for hours. She told me she had been living in Singapore for 3 years. While we were talking, she was showing me photos from her travels. It was wonderful to catch up with her.
Beautiful. You used simple past for the main narrative, past perfect for things that happened before meeting her, past perfect continuous for her time in Singapore, and past continuous for the ongoing conversation and photo sharing.
This is how native speakers naturally use these tenses. They paint a complete picture of the past.
Part 12. Common mistakes with past tenses.
Let's go through some of the most common mistakes learners make with past tenses.
Mistake 1. Mixing up simple past and present perfect. Wrong. I have seen him yesterday.
Right. I saw him yesterday.
Remember, we can't use present perfect with specific past time expressions like yesterday, last week, in 2020, etc. If the time is specified and finished, use simple past.
Mistake 2. Forgetting irregular verbs. Wrong. I goed to the store. Right. I went to the store. Wrong. She buyed a new car. Right. She bought a new car.
Mistake 3. Using past continuous when simple past is needed. Wrong. Yesterday I was going to the gym, if you mean you completed the action. Right. Yesterday I went to the gym.
Mistake 4. Double negatives with didn't. Wrong. I didn't went to school. Right. I didn't go to school. Remember, after didn't, use the base form of the verb.
Mistake 5. Wrong form of be in past continuous. Wrong. We was playing football. Right. We were playing football.
Mistake 6. Overusing past perfect. Wrong. Yesterday, I had woken up at 7 a.m., had eaten breakfast, and had gone to work. Right. Yesterday, I woke up at 7 a.m., ate breakfast, and went to work.